today we're talking about something that every postpartum woman will experience, but most are told not much about. And this is called Lochia. And that's the technical name for the bleeding and discharge that your body releases after birth. Whether you've had a vaginal delivery or a cesarean, Lochia is your body's way of gently clearing out the extra blood tissue and fluids that supported you your entire pregnancy. And this process, it's sacred. It's not just your body cleaning house. It's part of your body's healing, your womb's closing ceremony, so to speak. So let's walk through the 3 stages of Lochia, what's normal, what's not, and a few key things you should be aware of as you rest and recover. Love and blessings, beautiful people. My name is Elizabeth Vanderwelt. I'm a holistic doula and a women's health coach, currently residing in Saskatchewan, Canada, supporting women all over the world, online and in person. Everything said in my videos are for educational purposes only. I'm not giving out medical advice because I'm not a doctor. I'm just a teacher, coach, and just someone there that's supposed to guide you. So please do your own research, which I mean you already are since you're watching this, and consult a healthcare professional if you so choose. So let's talk about what Lochia is made of. Before we dive into the stages, let's talk about what this discharge actually is. First off, Lochia is made up of blood, as we all know. It's also the uterine lining, which they call descendua. I'll write it down, but it's, amniotic fluid, white blood cells, mucus, and sometimes, hopefully rarely, remnants of the placenta or any fetal membranes that remain. All of this is completely normal. It's, again, your body's way of saying, we did all the work during pregnancy and now it's time to remove it, clean house, just like you do at your own house. So first off, what is stage 1? Stage 1 is the Lochia rubra, and this is the first stage and usually lasts about 3 to 4 days after your birth. So normally what this looks like is very deep red, sometimes bright, thick and heavy flow, often compared to a very heavy period. This may include small clots that are up to the size of a grape. You might soak a pad every 1 to 2 hours at first. Like this should be like the first 2 days at max. And a lot of people want to know, what does that feel like? So you might have some cramping like you do when you're on your period, and this especially happens normally during nursing. And this is usually your uterus contracting. They call this afterbirth pains, and it's normally a very good sign because that means your womb is healing and trying to get back to its original size, because we know the uterus is small and it expands when baby's there. So other things that are normal is clots that are smaller than a golf ball, a strong but not a foul smell, some gushes when standing after resting, or that rollover in bed, like that's always fun. So now let's talk about stage 2, Lochia serosa. This usually begins around day 4 and can last up to day 12 or 14. So normally what this looks like is you're going to have less of that red and we're going to go into a lighter color. You need to think pink, a watery red, or a brown. It's going to be thinner, a consistency that's less volume, and no more large clots. And you know what's going to be happening during this phase is that your uterus is going to continue to shrink down. Now, as we know, during pregnancy, your blood is increased, and now it's slowing down, and the mix becomes more of a mucus, rich, and this is often when folks think, oh, we've healed. But remember, your womb is still about the size of a small melon. Another quick tip for you in here is that if your bleeding increases after it's been slowing down, that could be your body telling you to rest. So please don't ignore that whisper. And lastly but not least, we have stage 3, our Lochia alba. And this stage can start around week 2 and may last up to 6 weeks. So again, what this looks like would be your pale, creamy, or even a yellowish white discharge. It's much lighter. It may feel like occasional spotting or like a light mucus when you're right around ovulation. And there should be no clots anymore. None whatsoever. And your uterus is nearly done healing at this stage. You're still vulnerable to increase. So this is a sign of the internal wound where your placenta was attached, and it's almost fully closed, but not perfect. So you got to still rest a lot. The best type of balance you can see is, looking into the holistic traditions. This final stage is often seen as a body's way of sealing the womb. It's part of why so many cultures, including myself, encourage a 40-day rest period to allow full recovery, not just physical, but your emotional and your energetic ones as well. So let's talk about what's not normal. And this part of it is very important because a lot of people need to look for the red flags. So if you experience any of the following, please contact a care provider, do your research. So if you're soaking a pad in under 30 minutes, especially after the first few days, that's not a good sign. Large clots, larger than a golf ball. I'll show some of mine not when I was pregnant, but actually another bleeding issue I had. If you're having green or foul-smelling discharge or a fever over 100 Fahrenheit, chills, dizziness, or blurred vision, persistent or heavy bleeding past that week 2 stage, and any type of sudden increase in bleeding after an exercise or an activity, say like, I don't know what activity you could come up with, but remember, you know your body, and if something feels off, even if it's not on this list, trust your instincts. You're not being dramatic. You're going to be wise by going and deciding what's not going right with your body. So what can temporarily increase lochia? I've mentioned a few things that can briefly pick up the flow, but another few that you should know is that breastfeeding can. Nursing releases oxytocin, which helps the uterus contract, and this can cause a temporary gush. Getting out of bed after lying down, you might notice a release when you stand up. That's common. Light movements or walks, especially past that week 2 to 4, because gentle activity can stir up more discharge, and that's okay, but it's not a cue. It's a cue to not overdo it. And lastly but not leastly, stress is huge. Emotional and physical stress can subtly affect how your body heals. If you're feeling pulled in too many directions, it may show up in your flow. I want to remind you that lochia is a normal, natural process, and there are gentle things you can do to support it throughout the whole process. One is common, that is herbal padsicles or sitz baths with the use of calendula, witch hazel, or lavender. This can help soothe the swelling and encourage circulation. Another big one is you want to stay hydrated. So your body is clearing a lot of waste and healing tissue, so you're going to need to increase your water to drink your body weight. Nourishing foods, I mentioned it time and time again, but bone broth, stews, and any type of iron-rich meals are going to support your blood volume and your energy. Another one that's starting to become more common, but is from the Middle East, is womb wrapping or belly binding. There are proper people to support you with that, or there's YouTube guides if you want, and this can help support your uterus return to its pre-pregnancy position. And rest, I really mean it, rest. You're going to want to rest some more. You're not lazy because you are healing your body. Your body is very precious, especially our womb space. It's very... it's part of who we are, and it kind of runs the show. So you really want to make sure that you're resting enough that you feel better in the end. Remember, the 6 weeks is just a start of a timeline when it can actually take up to a year or more to recover in our postpartum, actually. Lochia might feel like a messy afterthought, but it's actually a very ancient, sacred part of our postpartum healing. Your body is releasing, it's closing, and it's renewing. It's literally renewing itself. So you need to give it time and give it the care and support that you would to somebody else that maybe went through an operation or through another illness. If anything in this video resonated with you at all, or if you have questions about your own postpartum experience, please drop them in the comments below, or reach out. I leave all my contact info as well. So if you're looking for support, whether that's nourishing meals, womb support, postpartum coaching, I'm here for you. I do exist. Like I said, I serve online virtually all over the world, and I also support in person in Saskatchewan. So do keep me posted in your ideas. But regardless, be gentle with yourself. You are doing just beautiful, powerful work. Thank you so much for watching another video. Make sure to subscribe to find more tips like these. Peace.